All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting edition of Two Men in Black and White, an honest conversation. All right, thanks for joining us again. We are live via YouTube and the Riverside app, so thanks for joining us today, folks. Again, just a couple of guys with streaming capability with our special correspondent again joining us, Hervé Francois, joining us from the beautiful confines of middle New Jersey, their beautiful part of the world. Brock and Ellis pipes in from the upper Hudson River Valley where the fall foliage is gone, the snow is present, and wow, I can't wait for we don't have cherry blossoms in the Hudson River Valley. What do we got, Brock? What do we got? Just green leaves? Going crazy?
We just want the Mark. We just want the snow to melt. We just
Yeah.
want the snow to melt.
It's the small things in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. All right, gentlemen, let's get right to it. You know what? It's the racism, stupid. That's what MAGA has to say for themselves. They seem to be imploding. Marjorie Taylor Greene is doing a great job helping them. She's eating the movement from the inside out. But you know, they've got so many self-inflicted wounds. For example, the ape picture of President and Mrs. Obama. You know what? And I'm so sick of seeing those fucking ape images of Michelle and President Obama, and then people telling us to get over slavery. I mean, it is ridiculous. And Hervé, I'll let you start, but you know, no, I haven't been that angry in a long time from when I saw that post from Trump. But you know, that's what he is. He's like a 6-year-old kid with a shitty diaper and can't control himself.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's a lot of truth to that as well. But he's a 79-year-old guy with that. Anyway, that aside, that aside. Yeah, listen, Mark, like you and many other folks around the country, probably around the world, I was really, really disgusted, disappointed in him reposting that picture, middle of the night, right, and then standing up and once again deflecting, trying to point the blame on some staffers when he damn well know it was his. And my thing is, hey, listen, man, you're a grown man. If you're a racist, own it, embrace it. It's who you are. Don't deflect. Don't go ahead and blame it on some young person or something like that. You have no problem flexing who you are to the rest of the world. This is who you are. Own it and embrace it. And I gotta be honest with you, after my anger subsided, many hours later on, as the day went on, I thought about it and I was like, so many people discussed it, right? All kind of, replies to this on social media platforms, how they can't believe he did it. You saw the outrage by Tim Scott, and I'm telling myself, Tim Scott, shut the hell up. You don't
Ugh,
have the right to
problem.
be outraged. You know why, Tim Scott? Because you have enabled this behavior yourself for the past 10 years. Okay? So, yeah, that he took a shot at you and you think it's the most racist thing that ever came out of the White House. Shame on you, Tim Scott. So I don't want to hear complaints about you. You've embraced this man. You have coddled this man. You have let this man shoot from the hip for years, demeaning people of all races, genders, and so on and so forth. So you don't get to speak. But at the end of the day, at the beginning, I was like, I can't believe he put this out. He shouldn't have put this out. This is so disgusting and disparaging to the Obamas and their family. I don't give a damn if you're a Republican, white, black, man, woman, LGBTQ, what don't matter, right? It's freaking disgusting. But then at the end of it, I thought about it. I'm like, you know something? I'm glad he put it out. I'm glad he put it out. And the reason why I'm glad he put it out is because for anyone out there, man, woman, MAGA, Republican, whatever, that ever had any doubts, that always said,
Hmm.
oh, no, he's not racist. He just likes certain people. Oh, no, he's not racist. Oh, no. Now, let it be known there should be no confusion
Right.
whatsoever. And let all of us here today and going forward use that moment as the stark reminder. The next time someone brings that up to you, oh no, he's not racist. No, don't you remember on that Friday what he had posted? And they're gonna, if they're still defending him, oh well, no, he said that was a staffer. Come on, let's put that aside. You know damn well, Mr. MAGA, Mrs. MAGA, that it was not a staffer. You know it was him. You know it was him. And if you're going to sit here to my face or over the phone or over text, tell me that him posting this is not racist, well, then that just confirms in me the foundation that you yourself are racist as well. Because I'll just ask you, well, would you post it? Would you post that of the Obamas?
Right.
Because you can't be both. You can't be joking about it. Oh, no, I'm not racist. It was a joke. Oh, no, I'm not racist. It was a staffer. Are you going to apologize? Of course I'm not going to apologize. No, you can't. You don't get to straddle racism. You either are and you own it, or you are not. Right? So for those people that have been sitting on the fence as to whether or not he was racist, for those that were convinced that he was not racist, let them be convinced now because of his actions that he's are. Whether you're sitting on the fence or you're unequivocally, no, he's not racist. Let that settle in. Because at the end of the day, now you have no argument.
Right.
You have no. Because if you try again to defend him, well, then you are just showing your true colors. Brock, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, you've already like swallowed so many comments over the years, right? Like you've really had to do some gymnastics to convince yourself that Trump was not racist already up to this point. And then like it's almost like he kind of came with a 2x4 and hit you in the head and just like announced, yeah, I'm racist. Okay. This is, I had a couple thoughts on it. One is like, why is he putting this out now? To me, it was a scramble of deflection and, messaging to the MAGA base, which he's worried about is peeling away. So he had to go to their worst instincts to remind them, hey, I'm your guy, right? Which is a sad commentary. But I felt like strategically that's what he was doing. But the second part of it was like, it wasn't just a racist action, like a quote, random racist action, like a racist joke. I mean, he attacks the most prominent black person in American history. I mean,
Ad nausea.
Yeah, because there's only been 47 presidents, it's the biggest job we have. And only one black guy has had the job, so he's going after the most prominent black person as a message, once again, really to all black people, anyone of color, that you're second-class citizens, and that's the way his mind operates, and really the way his, now his government, aka our country, is going to operate. And yeah, the good thing about it, Hervé, is that like let's now we just know the hand we're dealt, and let's just play the hand we're dealt, and stop allowing anyone to try to bullshit their way around it.
Okay, let me get in here right here. Let
Mark.
me ask you guys, how should Democrats message this fuckery, right? Because that's always my problem. My problem is, where are the Democrats making a shitstorm out of this, right? Like, where is someone going to come forward and say, hey, this is not what the president and the leader of the free world does, and this is not the way he conducts himself. Shame on you, you triple Trumpers, right? And shame on you, members of Congress, for not stepping up and saying, this is a bridge too far for me. How come we can't get that out of our Democratic leaders?
I think some Democratic leaders did come out that day and said exactly what you just stated there, right? Schumer, Jeffries, they all said the same thing, AOC. But, I don't think that, personally, I was not looking for a response from our Democratic leaders. I was not, right? And they're just going to know that they're enraged. They're upset like the rest of us and everything else. They're disappointed and so on and so forth. And let's be real, Mark, they would only be repeating themselves on things they've said in the past anytime Trump has said something such egregious, either against black and brown people, said things against Latino people, said disgusting things about women and so on and so forth, right? This is conduct unbecoming of the president and all this other stuff, right? You have to hold yourself to a higher status and everything else like that. But I think after a
Right.
while, Mark, is that words fall on deaf ears. If there's anyone that we may want to hear from, not that I really give a damn, but if there's anyone that really needs to speak up, are his supporters, right? And it can start with his supporters in Congress, right? And then as well as his voting supporters, right? When are they gonna step up and say
They're
something?
not.
Because let me tell you something right now, right? Many Republicans, right? And we all know Republicans out there, right? Of all shades and genders. But many Republicans out there say, oh, because you hear many times Democrats calling all Republicans racist. All Republicans are racist. All Republicans are racist. And again, the three of us all know Republicans, and they're not racist, right? But if you are a Republican, and for years you are saying, you are not racist. I am not racist just because I'm a Republican. I am not racist just because I'm a Republican. Okay, fine. I'm going to take you for your word at it, okay? I'm going to take you for your word. But for the love of God, when your leader goes ahead and puts something like that out, then you need to speak up. If you truly are not a racist.
Yeah, you're racist. You're racist adjacent. I mean, it's like in 1938 Germany saying like, oh, I'm not anti-Semitic, but yeah,
Right.
but
Just a little bit.
you're shrugging your shoulders as they cart the Jews off, to a concentration
The
camp.
furnace ovens.
Like
Right.
you can, if it helps you sleep at night to try to trick yourself into thinking that's not who you are. I mean, it's just a game you're playing with yourself. It has no connection to reality. What I wanted Democrats to do, Mark, not just to say the perfunctory that they're upset by this and unfit, is I want them to tie it to policy. So this is the messaging of a white supremacy leader. This is Project 2025 in a racist cartoon. This isn't just a mentality. This is a movement that is trying to reshape society by using its power. And look at all these different actions that go behind the racism, the DEI, the deportations, the even tax policy, right? That benefits the wealthiest. Well, who's the wealthiest? Same old white guys, right? Just up and down the line, tie it to policy and get people thinking that this isn't just some, meme that they're trying to play off. This is like signaling an entire slate of actions, voter suppression, right? And start talking about it that way so you can find something that bothers someone that gets them to rethink their position. Because Hervé, I think that's the game, is those people in the middle who are somehow still in the middle, right? To find something that aggravates them, that gets them to finally flick the switch and say, I can't even be standing next to this anymore.
Are there decent people in the middle? Riddle me that one, Batman.
I think there's selfish people in the middle, selfish that they feel so disconnected from others in their society that they can feel that they're not on board with the atrocities, but they certainly don't feel any motivation to do anything. So, I mean, I don't think there's good people in the middle. I think there's lazy, selfish people in the middle. Maybe not the worst of the worst, but like they always say, right? In Germany, it was like, the surprise of 1/3 of the country, wants to kill 1/3 of the country while the other third stands by, right? It takes those people that stand by for atrocities to happen.
Right.
So every day, I think I feel more anger to people that consider themselves in the middle or say they're, quote, not political. Well, this isn't about being political at this point. This is about like society and caring about other people. So that's a long way of saying no.
Brock, it's both. It's about caring for other people, but like you eloquently stated before, it's also part of a bigger agenda. And you're 100% right. It is part of a bigger agenda. the abolishment of DEI, the abolishment of affirmative action, voter suppression and redistricting and everything else like that. High-level African Americans, at the highest parts of all, functions of government, right? Or joint chiefs of staff, and so on and so forth, right? Making it more difficult for black women who are looking to get loans to go to nursing school, to get those loans to go to nursing school. So this is all, like you said, it's part of a bigger agenda. A lot of it is policy related. When he goes ahead and put out a post like that, that's not a policy, but that's just kind of pouring gasoline on the fire, right? And perhaps he did it with intent, which is why I'm even more so like own it. Hey, in case you guys didn't know, this is what I think about black people in the Obamas, right?
Right.
Like,
But you know what, Hervé? This fuels the policy.
sure.
It adds energy to the
Yes.
policy.
Yeah,
Right? Because you put this stuff out, then you say, hey, by the way, we don't need all these educated Negroes around here, talking all crazy to us. Let's defund the HBCUs.
That's right.
Right?
100%.
And now it makes sense.
It's all part.
Because remember how up in arms, these uppity Negroes, all educated, were, right? Let's put them back in their place, and make it more difficult for them to go to school, for them to have the tools to be able to graduate and come out here and compete. We're not that far away from when we weren't able to attend PWIs. Let's not forget that. My parents weren't allowed to attend PWIs.
Right. But Mark, I'm going to tell you something right now. I might be sounding a little bit like Brock here, but this is why I'm willing to bet on America. Because what I have been proud about, and Brock, at the end of every one of these podcasts, you always say, hey, Hervé, you going to go out and march now? No, not yet. However, I have been encouraged by what I see, Mark, in regards to the pushback that we have been seeing on some of these policies that have been getting out there, right? And it's not just pushbacks from, let's say, the Obamas or blacks, but those that are truly, truly getting their lives upended, right? You talk about voter redistricting. He calls up the governor of Texas, hey, I need you to go ahead and change up your map. So, when midterms come around November, then we got to lock in, right? And the state of California voted. Not one person in Gavin Newsom, but the entire state voted. No, this is not right. This is not good. The way we're going to counter what Texas is doing is that we voted that we're going to be able to do the same thing in California. But what I liked about it is that they took it to a vote versus in Texas, they did not take it to a vote. Just the Texas legislator did it, right? So you're seeing this kind of pushback. You're seeing that Democrat in Texas that won a seat in the state Senate that has not been occupied by a Democrat since Reconstruction and won decisively, right? So so voters are showing up, right? Even though they're trying to do everything they can to curtail perhaps potentially midterm elections from happening, having ICE officers show up at the voting booths during the midterm elections this November, calling for the midterm elections not to even take place, and so on and so forth, right? But you're seeing the pushback, and it's chopping wood. Seeing the pushback is seeing the resistance that the people of Minneapolis gave to ICE, and God bless. And I'm not saying that that illegal immigrants should be able to freely roam the country. I do believe there should be a path to citizenship. There have been bipartisan laws put forward in order for that to be signed. They chose not to go ahead and sign it. But but if you're gonna go ahead and do it, then damn it, do it the right way. And they did not do it the right way. You went ahead and George Bush, the son, he admittedly was not the smartest guy in the room. He didn't know anything, but he was smart enough to surround himself with smart people. You can't blame him for that. Took a page out of Bill Gates' book, right? Trump has done the complete opposite, right? He has put people in position with absolutely no experience whatsoever to head these huge agencies with multi-billion dollar, if not trillion-dollar budgets. right? A Fox News host to be head of Department of Defense, a podcast guy to be the head of the FBI, and this lady Christy Noam to be head of DHS, and all she does is shoot and kill her dogs, right? So these people have. So now when shit hits the fan in Minneapolis, everyone's pointing fingers at each other. No one knows what to do, how to do, and how to do it correctly. You send Tom Homan in there, who, oh, by the way, was around when Obama was president, when they also had deported millions of immigrants in this country, but they did not do it in the violent manner that DHS is doing using ICE. They targeted the illegal immigrants and went after them, particularly the criminals. Here, there's no targeting, right? Not only until two innocent Americans got shot and killed by our own ICE agents 3 to 4 weeks deep into ICE being in the city of Minneapolis, did Tom Homan come to Minneapolis and say, okay, now we're going to do targeted deportation. What the fuck were you doing in the past 4 weeks? Right? As you guys went ahead and killed 2 upstanding legal American citizens, right?
And so, go ahead, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, because that's if you believe him, right? That's to me, that's just word salad. Saying what he thought he had to say to tamp down, what was a losing game they were playing in Minneapolis. But hey, as long as we're building warehouses / concentration camps and there's daily quotas on these ICE agents, it can't be targeted. It's got to be broad to fill these facilities, and now it's big business, and everyone's got to make money off of it. So, to me, fighting these ICE detention centers becomes the new battleground. ICE Minneapolis did their part of how to deal with a surge of agents.
Yeah.
But now it's being spread out to all these warehouses all over the country, and it's going to be smaller, sporadic battles, and it's going to have to be local initiatives. Local resistance. It's going to be harder.
Well, I think
you're seeing
the page out of the book of Minneapolis, and that's the way to go. And I hope no one else dies. It's the saddest thing. Seriously, no one needs to die off of this, right? But in resistance, that happens. And I honestly believe that you will see folks in other cities provide a similar pushback to ICE agents, because it worked. It didn't happen overnight. It took a long time. But it went from the killing of 2 American citizens to now a drawdown. Now, Brock, to your point, what happens is the ICE agents get shifted someplace else. What's going to be the next city that they go to, in multiple cities that they go to? This is not about getting immigrants out the country, because you would start with the cities and the states that had the highest number of illegal immigrants. There are 130,000 illegal immigrants in Minneapolis. There are over 2 million illegal immigrants in the state of Texas. There are 500,000 illegal European immigrants in the United States. You don't hear them going after the illegal European immigrants. So this is not about really deportation of illegal immigrants. We know what this is about, right? And Brock, you had said it, but this is more and more of a white supremacist movement. That is their policy that they're enacting.
Well, they go into Texas, then they run into that, rugged individualist, Second Amendment gun owner who wants government out of his business, and all of a sudden he's got mass troops on his street, and he's a white guy, right, with the beard and the gray, and he's been ready to fight a war since he's pissed off that he missed out on the Civil War, right? So now he's ready to rumble. He don't want these troops on his street. So I think that's why they're politically staying away from what would cause an internal friction, right? Plus, that guy in Texas doesn't want to be told that he can't bring a gun to a protest either, right? Because Second Amendment, So it's a blue state surge, and it's a way to fuck with the blue states and try to get governors and mayors in trouble, and it has crippled Minneapolis. The mayor was on TV today talking about the economic hit that the city's taken, and the people are afraid to leave the house so that they're, hunger issues, right? It's had a real human impact, even though we as the resistance think we won in Minneapolis, but
it's a step back.
The city's been ravaged.
Is the win going to be, how is the win calculated or measured? Is the win going to be calculated? And Mark, you brought this up, the people who were sitting in the middle in Minneapolis before the ICE agents came in, are you still sitting in the middle now?
I don't think so. I think they moved left. I think they
Big
got
time.
appalled by what they saw in front of them.
Especially after the
if
shooting
that's
of
the
Freddie
case,
and Good.
and Mark and Brock, if that's the case, and I agree with you, if that's the case, is that a win? As small as it might
That's
be.
a win. That's a win. It's a very costly win, right? It took a city to get ravaged. It took two people to get shot in broad daylight.
Right.
It was a expensive, painful win, but it was definitely a win, and it definitely provided the blueprint for other cities. And I'm not even sure that ICE is going to surge cities in the same way ever again, having lost in that fashion. So it might
Well,
be.
well, now not so fast.
We'll see.
Not so fast. Because remember, Brock, I don't I don't know if you remember me saying this, Brock, but I believe the plan all along was to have black bodies out in front, strewn in the street. And so I think the next time he needs a huge deflection and to change the narrative, he's going to go into a brown city and start snatching and disappearing black and brown people, knowing that you're going to get a fight like they did in the BK when they went into the Haitian community. They're going to go where they can get a fight, get some pushback, and start murdering black and brown folks. Because that is what's going to change everything, right? You kill a couple of white folks, we're going to get a couple of investigations, right? We got investigations anyway, even though the feds didn't want them. We're getting them anyway. They're coming slow, but they are pushing for them. Now, because you remember how, our armed troops met the folks that were protesting the George Floyd death, right? Remember when they got to Washington and saw all those stormtroopers on the steps of the Cap? That's what's waiting for us when we come outside. And I believe that's been the plan all along.
You think that's why he's talking Atlanta? You think that's why he's talking Atlanta today?
Exactly.
He's starting to pitch some different
That's
cities
exactly.
where he
Taking
knows
the
he gets.
temperature.
I hear you on Atlanta, but listen, what happened in Minneapolis, the entire world saw. And if you are now a resident that lives in a city that has been now marked for ICE agents to have their next surge, if it's going to be Atlanta, I hope it's not, but if it's going to be Atlanta,
We ain't playing that shit down here.
well,
We're not gonna have that shit.
But Mark, that's my point, right? Y'all gonna be prepared in somehow, some fashion, and perhaps many fashions. You guys are going to be prepared. They ain't gonna catch Atlanta off guard the way that they caught Minneapolis. So they say, okay, we're gonna send 1,000 troops to Atlanta. We're gonna send 2,000 to Atlanta. We're gonna send 3. Y'all gonna be prepared. And Georgia's Georgia. Minnesota's Minnesota. Georgia.
Two different worlds. Two different worlds.
You know what I'm saying? So
Night and day.
folk in Georgia don't mess around like that.
No
You
sir.
want to come down here? Okay, fine. But what makes you think you're not going to be met with some resistance? And again, I do not wish for bloodshed, and I pray that none happens. But I'm telling you right now, with the way people are not going to tolerate that. It's what the state senator in Minnesota had said. She said, look, this is not targeted. All they're doing is they'll pull up to a car, they'll see a brown person in the car, they'll run his or her license plate, it'll come up Jose Rodriguez, and they said, let's pull him over. Not knowing if Jose Rodriguez...
Which is so fucking illegal.
That's my thing. It's right, because that's all profiling. It's all profiling, right? And whether or not they know Jose Rodriguez is an illegal immigrant or not. This is why they went into that man's house early in the morning. They busted down his door. They dragged him out in the snow, only to bring him back hours later. Why? They found out he was not an illegal immigrant and he was not a criminal. Okay, fine. So why the hell did you bust down his door to begin with? You got no rhyme to reason as to who you're going after and why. And what I'm saying is if they try to pull that in Atlanta, in other cities, now that we've seen this has happened, it's going to be met with resistance. And I am not praying for violence. I don't want violence on either side. But damn it, there will be resistance.
The violence will be inevitable because first of all, you got Proud Boys and Jan Sixers and 3%ers. You've armed them to the gills. The reason they don't care is because in their minds, the agent on the street just thinks any brown person should be the fuck out of here. Right. So they're not looking to see who's who and who's legal. Then when they send them a detention center and some lawyers get involved and some light shines on the situation, then the managers are like, oh, that's bad PR, and then they let the citizens back out and keep everyone else. But the rank and file agent on the street, the fucking pieces of shit that they've hired in ICE, the abject racists that are running around with masks on, heavily armed, they are going to instigate violence, and it just comes to what the response and the pushback is going to be. And as we're getting in the chat room, is like they have to reinforce the Trump lies. They have to project that they're cleaning up crime, aka black neighborhoods, right? They got to use the euphemisms and just clean them up, right? But they have to reinforce the storyline that Trump has sold to America on why we're doing this in the first place, or the Stephen Miller doctrine that sits behind Trump. But as we know, Trump's all too happy and willing to spread the gospel because that's his people. But the violence is going to be inevitable, Mark. There's no way they're going to come into the streets of Atlanta and, a primarily black downtown, right? They probably won't go to, what's that neighborhood where all the white people live?
Buckhead.
Well, Buckhead, yeah. They probably won't spend a lot of time in Buckhead.
Buckhead. No. We've already shut down Buckhead to the black clubs and nighttime experiences because there was too much stuff going on, right? There are no more African-American owned clubs and things in the Buckhead area because of this shooting, that shooting. I think the last one involved Puffy and the Black Mafia family. So, look, Buckhead is off limits. It just like Beverly Hills was off limits during the Rodney King riots. Remember when the movement started going that way? All of a sudden, you saw waves of police officers coming. Oh, hold up now. We can't be tearing up the nice white people shit. Okay? We're not going to do that. But I'm going to tell you what. Here, just like, we saw, in movements past, right? Black America is not going to sit idly by, and run roughshod over. We can't. If you look at social media, and I'm a social media hound, and I hate to admit it, but we're seeing way too many instances of black people being pulled over and having to say, what are you pulling me over for? How do I even know you're police? What do you mean? Can you see my ID? Hell no, you can't. I don't even know who you are. But now we're testing the water. We're taking the temperature, right? To see what happens, right? Because look, and Hervé, we had this conversation a little bit last week, and I prodded Brock on the fact that, now that brown Americans and white Americans were being disappeared, shot, killed. Everyone wants to get out on the street. But where have we been for the past, 250 years when African Americans were terrorized, when our cities were burned down, when Black Wall Street was burned down, when Rosewood was burned down?
I'll easily answer that question.
All these atrocities.
But Mark, I'll easily answer that question for you. It didn't impact them.
Yeah, exactly.
You said black cities, you said Black Wall Street. They're like, well, it's not my backyard.
Right.
Sad to see, but not my backyard. Right? So Brock asked me at the end of every podcast, are you going to protest that? Right? And I always kind of give like a similar response kind of a thing. I wish Alex Prudy and Renee Good were still with us. Wish they had not died. I wish they had not died.
Terrible.
But damn it, unfortunately, that's what it took for people to get to the streets. People of their own color and said, enough is enough. Stop. Because if you can take out a Renee Good, mother of three, if you can take out Alex Prudy, a VA nurse, right? Good citizen and everything else. If you could take that out, right? If you could take, then you can take any of us out None of us feel safe. None of us are protected for just living an innocent life, even if that means peacefully protesting, which both
You
of them were doing.
you guys think, either one of you can jump in on this. You guys think that right now black people haven't come out for the protests in a way, they haven't gone to the fight. They've let white people do it. But you think that the Trump administration is starting to just test the waters about taking the fight to the black communities and waiting to see whether white people are gonna support them, and or because you can't fill all these warehouses and until you got to start rounding up more people. And I gotta believe black people are next on the list, right? So
I think
Makes
it's gonna
perfect
be
sense.
multiple- I think it's going to be multiple people on the list. I think it's going to continue to be Latinos. I think it's going to be, no doubt, it's going to be black folks as well. You know, you want to go, you want to send ICE agents into the hood. When you talk like where you talk about black folks in the suburb, you talk about black folks in a nice city in Atlanta, or you talking about black folks in East Baltimore. Like, what you talking about? 'Cause-
Well,
bro, whoa, watch out now.
Hervé, remember Epstein wrote the book on this. If they take a page out of Epstein's book, you go into the hood and you grab black people because you think nobody's going to miss them, right? You think nobody cares. Freddie Gray comes to mind in Baltimore, right? You think nobody cares. And, I don't know if they think all these kids are orphans or all these people on the street are orphans, but you do it as a show, right? Because it's the brutality for Trump. Trump likes the brutality. So you go where you can have the least amount of resistance with the least amount of accountability, just like Epstein did.
And this, my pushback to you on that is the phrase least amount of resistance. I don't think no matter where they go anymore across this country, they'll be seeing the least amount of resistance. Not after what's happened in Minneapolis, because people realize, as innocent as they are, as legal as they are, their damn civil rights were violated. Martin
I hope
Luther
so.
was talking what he was talking in the 60s. He wasn't just talking for black folk. He was talking about civil rights for everybody, right? And people realize in Minneapolis, as white as they are, that their civil rights were violated because the laws apply to them too. So if they want to go into the city and take the Freddie Gray's type and everything else, okay, all I'm saying is, I'm not saying they're not going to do that. Hear me clearly. I'm not saying they're not going to do that. I'm saying that if they do, they will be met with resistance.
you think
They will be met with resistance. And Brock, to your point, God forbid, there may be bloodshed as well.
you think white people will come out and support if they're in downtown Atlanta or in East Baltimore? Do you think
I think in a
Do you think white people are there yet? They were there in Minneapolis. Do you think white people would come into a black neighborhood and support, or just
They have to.
join a black protest
have
against ICE? You think they have to?
They have to.
You think they'll be there?
because
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful.
Yeah, because they're going to realize that these guys, they don't give a damn. They can come after us too. And this is what happens when it wasn't targeted, because everything that you guys are talking about right now is something being more targeted than they were when they started in Minneapolis. In Minneapolis, they weren't targeted. They wound up killing Renee Good and Alex Peruti. What you're talking about now is being targeted, going into the inner city, going specifically after black folks, going into this neighborhood, going specifically after. That's a targeted operation, right? When it's not a targeted operation, people are like, whoa, hold on, pump the brakes. You're in my backyard. I'm legal. I pay bills. I got a job. I got kids. I'm in school. And I never had a parking ticket. And you pointing guns at me? Hold on, that's a problem. That's a freaking problem, right? So look, if you're just talking about, if it's more than, it's not just going after illegal immigrants. Okay, fine. So now you're going to go after people in the inner cities and everything else like that. All I'm saying is, you folks are locking down. Folks are buying their guns. Folks are buying their face masks, and I don't wish for violence. I do not. But
It's going to happen though. Okay. I mean, look, there's a lot of immigrants in the cities, right? If you're looking for them, you're trying to fill these warehouses. You got to go to where the people are, right? And I hope they make that mistake. I hope they go into a city, not in New York. I think I think they'll stay away from New York. They'll probably go to a southern city, figuring that the white people there are racist, really racist, hardcore racist, and won't show up. And because otherwise, if white people show up in black neighborhoods in droves, then Trump's unleashed the resistance that they probably can't handle. Right? They've been talking about it for a year. We've been talking about it for a year.
Counted on. Yep.
What's that?
They never counted on that.
Right.
They never counted on white America coming to black America's aid or brown America's aid. They never counted on Somalians getting help from white Minnesotans. And the term is Minnesota nice, but they
never
did.
planned on white Minnesotans getting killed. And that's
No.
why folks around the country, right?
But Hervé, once white people get out there and support, whether there's a lot of guns out there, there's a lot of pepper balls, like there's people getting blinded, getting, run over by cars and stuff like that. I mean, it's just the luck of the draw of who gets shot and who dies or who just gets severely injured. But like, violence is going to happen when you get those forces meeting out in the streets.
100%. Right? And that's what I'm saying. If your agenda truly is to get illegal immigrants off the street, you could do that with a different agenda, but you're not doing it with the agenda that needs to be used. For example, the way that Obama got illegal immigrants off the street, right? He did it completely differently.
Yeah, it can be done differently. They don't want to do it. They don't want to do it differently, right? This is how they want to do it. They want to do it in a we're in charge here, overt, loud way, right? Obama's administration did it in a quiet, like behind the scenes, efficient business-like way. And some people didn't even like the way he did it, right? But they're doing it intentionally in a very, like, we're flexing our muscles kind of way. So, we're getting some comments about whites being out there in the Black Lives Matter movement protests, which was true. And then white America went back home to the suburbs and lived their lives, and nothing really changed, which we talked about. But it was a little bit of a dry run, right? It was a little bit of a rehearsal for getting out there.
Yeah. Well, and again, because you guys play basketball, right? And so you had a big game coming up on a Saturday. You know the opponent, right? You would watch film if you guys had film, right? You'd have the scouting report on the other team. You would prepare for that game, right? You're not preparing for the game that you're going to be playing 2 months from now. You're preparing for this Saturday's game, for this Saturday's opponent. Those dudes going into Minneapolis, they didn't prepare for any opponents. They didn't watch any film. They didn't have a scouting report. They just bum rush Minneapolis and say, we here, we're going to up it up, and we're going to take anyone, whomever, white, black, Latino, Asian, Vietnamese, we're going to take everyone, you motherfuckers. There was no game plan. There was no scouting report. So what happened? They quote unquote lose the goddamn game.
Yeah, they
pressured by people in the middle in Minneapolis are no longer in the middle. They've freaking have gone left and everything else like that. That there's a drawdown of troops going on. That freaking Kristi Noem gets her ass chewed out, and Tom Homan has to go in, and that Hitler guy had to wind up leaving too, and everything else like that. To me, it's a law. Yes, it's so maybe the citizens of Minneapolis lost the battle, but they won the war, right? And it's sad that people had to lose their lives in order for the war to be won, but it was kind of a war. So now because so many people across this country has seen on TV what's happened, I think collectively they like, you know what? No matter what color these ICE agents are, they are not with us. We can't sit here and say, let's support ICE because they're trying to get all the brown and black people out of the country or illegals out of the country. Because you realize they're not. You realize that ICE is okay with killing innocent white civilians. So now they've got very little support. I know Deep MAGA support them and everything else like that. But Deep MAGA supports them up to a point, up until their own civil rights isn't violated, because ICE isn't stopping to ask you whether or not you're a Democrat or a Republican. They don't give a damn. But what they are is they're going to the blue cities. so they can minimize that mistake of roughing up a MAGA person, because
Yeah.
most likely they're in a blue city. So they're going to go to Atlanta. They tried to go to Memphis. Memphis pushed back. Mark said they went into Brooklyn. Brooklyn pushed back. Right? So people, there's a script. Before Minneapolis, it really wasn't.
Yeah, yeah. But I thought I looked at it a little different. I was kind of like Minneapolis won the battle, but there's like a long war ahead of us because it's just because DHS is too well funded. I mean, we gave them so much money in that big ugly bill that it's just out of control, right? It's here for the long game, right? It's going to take a lot of battles won.
A lot of battles. It's going to be a lot of battles. It's a David and Goliath situation, man. It's a lot of battles. But people are like, enough is enough, man. If you guys don't want to have a script on how are you going to carry out this freaking agenda, okay, fine. But you ain't going to do it by coming into cities and just randomly killing people because you can, and then manufacturing a freaking lie, not once but twice.
Well,
on both killings, manufacturing lies on how it went down. Come on, man. When it's on videotape.
that's the playbook for killing black folks. They thought it would work, but killing
Yeah,
white
but
folks.
then they did the same thing on white folks.
I know, but it didn't work. It didn't work.
That's
You know, I guess white people believed their eyes when they saw it actually happen to
what
other
happens
white
to
people.
them. They're like, oh,
Yeah, because white people don't look at other white people as such a threat, right? Renee Good driving that car. She wasn't a threat that she was going to run someone over. Even Alex Preddy, who was armed, not viewed as a threat by white people. White people
And
just kind of like,
restless.
he's allowed to have that gun. He was just out there, protecting people, right? So we were really quick to jump to the
He
innocent
was
nature.
wrestling with the police. So let me ask you this in honor of the Reverend Jesse Jackson, who passed just the other night, and Dr. King. How do we find a nonviolent solution to deal with Trump, MAGA, and the state of fascism in America? Like, I don't know how we approach that with nonviolence. Do you?
I don't encourage violence. So for me, it still needs to be nonviolence. It still needs to be peaceful protest. I hear, but I will tell you, nonviolent, so-called peaceful protest, I think it does have an impact with volume, with numbers of people. And that's why, and I think that's what happened in Minneapolis. It wasn't that folks in Minneapolis got armed up and said, we're going to go out there and shoot and kill ICE folks. They didn't do that, right? But they just came out in numbers. In 5-degree weather, for the love of God. They came out in numbers on a Monday evening, on a Tuesday morning, on a Wednesday night. They came out in numbers, and it took a while, and it took 2 people losing their damn lives and everything else like that. Because it goes to Brock's point. We're not going to outgun ICE. They got billions of dollars. They got thousands of troops and billions of dollars. But you're not gonna, and I'm not advocating for that too. Let's take up arms and go to like freaking war on the streets of ICE. I'm not advocating for that. That's a lost cause kind of a thing, right? And I don't want to see people get harmed. But I am for the freaking peaceful Listen, Mark, I think it's a protest. I think it's getting lawyers involved early and often and everything else like that. And getting them to slow roll, lawsuit after lawsuit after lawsuit, get them out of this city, get them off this street. They're not allowed to be here. Sue them left and right. Sue the agent. Hey, listen, if you're going to wear a face mask, Mr. Agent, I'm going to wear a face mask at this peaceful protest too. So you can't use facial recognition software on me. Let's go. I'm telling you, man. But it has to be in numbers.
You know what's funny, Brock?
Numbers.
There was shortly after the Trayvon Martin silent protest by the Miami Heat when they wore their hoodies on the floor, led by LeBron and D Wade. My son was coming home from prep school with his hockey bag, his book bag, and his stick bag through the Atlanta airport, and he had his hoodie on. These are tales from Black America.
Right.
He walks through the airport. I'm outside waiting for him, and I see him coming through the doors with his hoodie on. And when he gets within about 10 feet of me and I'm looking to see if there's anybody else around him, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you wearing that hoodie in an airport? I was like, do you not see what they are doing to young black men with hoodies on?
That was all.
Take it off.
That's right.
And he's like, Dad, I can't take it off. I'm like, what are you talking? Just get in the car.
Right.
He gets in the car, he sits down and he pulls his hoodie off. And he said, Dad, I had the hoodie on because my alopecia is acting up and my hair is all spotty in different places.
Got it. Yeah.
Broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Broke my heart
Yeah.
that I'm screaming at my kid because of the state of this society
Yeah, man. Yeah.
and how they treat someone. This kid is coming from a $60,000 a year prep school with his books, with his hockey bag, and he still looks suspect.
Right. Right.
And I'm thinking about it in the back of my mind saying, oh my God, I have to remind him that he just can't walk around any way he feels like.
Right. Right.
And now we ride home in silence with me apologizing over and okay, that happened in 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
I'm still like traumatized by it. I'm still bothered by it.
Yeah. But Mark, you were just trying to do the best for your son as a father, not knowing obviously what was going on with his hair at the time. If you knew in advance, you probably wouldn't have told him that. You were trying to protect your son, no different. I was trying to protect my sons, at that time, who were younger than yours. They were kind of like 6, 7 years old, right? So we could, have them sheltered and everything else like that. But my God, man, that was real. You had to, because listen, a lot of folks don't really understand, the nuances sometimes of what we have to go through when something like that happens, right? And this is when you start telling me, he's at that $60,000 a year prep school. He's playing hockey, and you tell him he can't be wearing his hood like that and everything else like that. And listen, God bless him. Maybe at some point it's like, Dad, how come I can't do this like my white counterparts who go to the same school I do and are on my hockey team and so on and so forth? And you have to tell them, as painful as it is, because it's different for you, son.
You know who else asked that question?
Who's that?
What'd you say right there at the end? Because it's different for you, son?
Right. Yeah.
You know who else that asked that question? I asked my father that question in 1983.
There you go.
Dad, how come I don't have a prom date? Because it's different for you, son.
A prom date.
I didn't have a prom date at our high school.
Right.
The white girls that I liked, their parents wouldn't let them go with me.
No, that ain't gonna happen. Not in 1983.
Not in 83.
No.
So those are scenarios white families and fathers didn't have to address, right? That fear was not something they've ever worried about. And that's why I'm a little I'm optimistic, but cautiously optimistic that if ICE goes into, a predominantly black city, predominantly black neighborhoods in a city, that white people are going to feel, aren't going to take the bait that they're there because of the crime and they got to clean up the crime and they've been called in by the mayor and everyone knows that, with the fake bullshit lies and crime statistics, into the fear, and that white people don't feel the kindred camaraderie with their black brethren because they fall right back into the stereotypes so ingrained in them, and we don't get that solidarity. That I'm worried about it. I know you guys are probably more optimistic than I am on. I just worry that the response could fall flat. And if it falls flat, then we're just so screwed.
Brock, I don't know if there is going to be a lot of support from the white community if ICE starts going into these predominantly black and brown cities. I don't know. I hope so. I don't know. But I will tell you this. I would not be surprised if the state of mind of black and brown folks in those inner cities are like, we've been fighting on our own for our entire goddamn life. Because they're sure as shit not expecting white folks to come and protest them, because they've been doing it by themselves their whole damn lives. Went in and posted, I think, something about George Floyd during that time. You did see a lot of white people come out, and protest and everything. We remember that. It was only 6 years ago and so on and so forth. I was at some of those protests. Yes, There was a lot of white folks at those protests, and I guess, you saw a man's rights, right, in life being taken away from him in a slow 8-minute period. We were all confined in our house because of the pandemic and so on and so forth, right? So again, if I'm a betting man,
because ICE protests are more dangerous. We know that already, right? We've seen it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing to just protest the death that happened before. It's another thing to be out there kind of being disruptive against a bunch of 3%ers that have masks and advanced weaponry, right? Like, these are, hey, I've been to some protests. I waltzed down Fifth Avenue with 3 police eating donuts. Me and Mark always laugh about it. It was a very polite march. I felt like we sent a message, but I never felt at risk or a threat for a second. To me, an ICE protest with a lot of people walking around with machine guns is going to have a different vibe to it. That's why I think it's a bigger leap to get white people out there with black people when that day comes. And I just feel like it's inevitable. You can't fill all these concentration camps unless you start rounding up more different people, types of people, colors of people.
yeah.
All right, gentlemen,
Persuasion.
we got to get up out of here. You got any quick hits? I'll go first. Keep them quick, gentlemen. USA wins 2-1 over Sweden. Big win, Final Four now. Now, who do we cheer for? USA versus Canada.
Elbows up.
That could be coming for the goal.
Okay,
After this weekend.
quick hit.
Rock.
Just yes or no. Did you guys see the video of RFK Jr. and Kid Rock doing like a workout video with their shirts off?
Nope, won't watch that. I
Oh,
can't.
that's only in the white guy feed, white guy algorithms. You don't have to and Google and search that one. Okay, in maybe the most aggravating news of the day is that they've done studies now, and it looks like so far that Tesla's automatic driving cars are causing 4 times more accidents than human drivers.
Yeah.
How the fuck are we letting this fucking a-hole run roughshod over all? How is he getting funding for this shit? How is this still? Because he's bribed his way into a position of influence.
Of course. Oh my! I didn't.
Money talk.
I just saw it today. Saw it today. Because he skimps on the fucking work. He's not like a genius. He's just trying to make money and jam shit out there. Yeah, your neighborhood is a testing ground for his cars. Good luck with your kids out there playing, hopscotch on the sidewalk. So that's my latest on Elon Musk.
Wait,
Man,
All right.
Hervé, you got anything for us?
I got something for you, man. I
Okay.
absolutely love my Bad Bunny. Hey, Bobby. I love my Bad Bunny. I think he did an outstanding job. So much culture, so much of the sugar canes, the bodega, the wedding, the 5-year-old sleeping at a party that was me, 5-year-old a long time ago. At a party, falling asleep because it was so damn late, and parents were freaking dancing their asses off. I thought it was absolutely lovely. He went ahead and showed flags of so many South American, Central American, as well as U.S. as well towards the end. He had people out there. He had the dancers out there. I think it was beautifully done. I think it was
Dancers. Magnifique.
yeah, man. So I tip my hat to him. Outstanding job, and I hope they just continue on that, right? I mean, I hope they continue on that trend, right? It's all about culture. You got a billion of eyes, watching this game on a worldwide basis on a Sunday afternoon, right? And I mean, you have to bring out entertainers that are going to get everybody out of their seat, not someone just in like some particular locale, and you hear all this, political BS, backlash and things like that. So,
Right.
yeah, great job. Great job.
You think it moved the needle? You think it moved multicultural America took a step forward that day, even though the 20% of MAGA was up in arms and like turned it off and did some other bullshit during halftime?
I don't think it moved the needle at all.
Not at all.
No. No, I don't think it moved the needle one damn bit. Some folks, you heard the level of ignorance. Puerto Rico's not America. Okay, I can't deal with you. I can't speak with you. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, like, where do I begin when I hear shit like that? So I left it alone. Go watch your freaking Kid Rock Turning Point bullshit. You know what I mean? And the rest of the world, we will be watching, Bad Bunny, and so on and so forth. No idea what we're
Chilling.
going to have next year, but, hopefully it's going to be someone who's going to be as electrifying and it's going to be as, captivating, as Bad Bunny was this year and Kendrick Lamar was
sure.
last year.
For sure. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. Great discussion. Really enjoyed it. I got to run. I got a hungry dog here gnawing on my ankle. Yes.
Hervé, thank you as always, Mark. Always a pleasure. I will talk to you tomorrow.
All right,
All
guys.
right.
All right,
Sounds good,
bye bye.
gents. Peace.
Bye.